Good day, everyone. In this section, we are going to explore a really important topic, how to visualize the filters in a convolutional neural network. So understanding this will give you a better intuition about what your CNN is actually learning at each layer. It's a great way to peek inside the black box and see how the network processes information. Hopefully, this will deepen your overall understanding of how deep learning works and help you make more informed design choices when building your own models. So, what do CNNs actually learn? Well, as we've discussed before, learning in a neural network involves adjusting weights and parameters during training to minimize the loss. That's the fundamental idea. Now, let's take a look at this CNN architecture shown here. You can see the different layers, the convolutional layers, the activation functions like ReLU, max pooling, and fully connected layers. And finally, the output with softmax. Each of these layers, except pooling and flattening, has parameters that are learned during training. So these parameters, like weights in the conventional and fully connected layers, are what the model adjusts to better recognize patterns in the data. So when we talk about what CNNs learn, we are really referring to these parameters. For example, we have this network learns 320 parameters in the first convolutional layer and 18,494 for this for the second convolutional layer. And what we have here is for um, a significant 1.18 million in the first fully connected layer, and overall or altogether, and that's 1.19 million or 1.20 million parameters being tuned to help the network correctly classify the input image. So in essence, CNNs learn the optimal set of weights that help them make the most accurate predictions by identifying patterns, textures, and features in the data across layers. Okay, so now let's take a look at what a trained filter look like. So we will focus on this on the first convolutional layer, the conv1 in a model like this one. So here we have 32 filters, each with 3 by 3 by 1. If this were a color RGB image, so the filter size should be 3 by 3 by 3. Since we need to account for three color channels, well, always always good to keep that in mind, no? In case if this one is an RGB. So right now we are using a grayscale in this case because the depth is 1. So in this case, this is 3 by 3 by 1 for this. So for the each size of this one, no, in this Conview one. So we have 3 by 3 by 1 in 30, the depth is 32. So we have 32 times 3 by 3 by 1 in this case. So these filters are used to um, scan over the input image and generate feature maps, which you can see in this diagram. No? But here's the interesting part. So when we start training, so these filters inside of this Conv one, so we have 32 times 3 by 3 by 1 here. No? So in each slice, it is 3 by 3 by 1. So in first when we start training, so these filters or the slices of 3 by 3 by 1 matrices here are initialized with random values. So what happens after training? So what do these filters actually look like on the model has learned something? So the great thing is, yes, we can absolutely visualize them. So after training, these filters have learned to detect specific patterns or features in the image like edge, texture, or even more complex shapes depending on the layer. So, and that gives us a window into what the network is focusing what the network is focusing on when it processes image. So what do CNN actually learns in their filters? Well, here's a visual example of what some 3 by 3 by 1 filter might look like after training. So you can already start to see recognizable patterns. For instance, let me check. I think this one resembles a plus sign, and others like let me check. Some like mga like diagonal lines or edges. So they are features. These are the features that CNN has learned to detect from the input images. So we can visualize these filters using a library like Matplotlib. So in this grayscale presentation, so the dark areas correspond to close to 0, and the white or lighter areas represents values closer to 255. So when you see lighter areas in a filter, so that means those positions have higher weights. So these weights play an important role. So they represent how strongly the filter reacts to certain patterns in the image. So when a filter with high weights aligns well with a specific features or a specific feature in the input image, it gets activated, meaning it detects something it has learned to recognize. Well, we will explore exactly how this activation works in the next section. Okay, so let's take a look at how filters work. So remember this filter as we slide it across the input or this input image, usually with a stride of one, it produces what's called a feature map. Now, let's talk about what what is actually happening during this convolution operation. The convolution is essentially a dot product between the input vector, this one, and the weight vector, the filter or the kernel. The key idea is the dot product between the two vectors is proportional to the angle between them. So when the angle between the vector is zero, meaning there are perfectly aligned. So the output of the dot product is high. That's when the vector points in the same direction. And that's exactly when the neuron fires or activates. So think of a filter as a small image that we slide across the larger input image. When the filter aligns well in the specific pattern, like an edge, it produces a high value in the feature map. That's what we see here. For example, if the filter is designed to detect edges and it passes over an edge in the image, so it will strongly activate, resulting in a high value in the output. So in summary, high activation happens when the filter matches the pattern it's looking from the image. So here are some examples of filters used in convolutional neural networks. So these filters uh, come from a trained CNN, specifically the first convolution layer of AlexNet. What you are looking at here are the actual filters that the network learned during training. And and you can already see that many of them have developed very distinct patterns. So some filters look like they are tuned to edges, some to textures, and some even to response to their colors or the orientation of the image. So what's amazing is that the network learns this filter automatically just by being trained on image data. So each of these filters is now capable of detecting a certain type of feature in an input image, like diagonal, edge, stripe, or a blob of color. So in short, these filters have learned to extract meaningful visual features which are then used in later layers to recognize more complex structures. Here's um here's another set of filter examples. So these filters were also learned by a convolutional neural network during training. And and you can see that many of them captures patterns like diagonal, stripes, and gradients. Each filter is tuned to detect a specific type of visual feature like particular edge orientation or texture across different parts of the image. So what's really interesting is that these filters don't need to relearn the same feature for every location in the image. So, well, thanks to something called parameter sharing, a single filter can scan across the entire image and detect the same pattern wherever it happens or where it appears. So if a filter learns to detect a horizontal edge in one part of the image, it can recognize some that same horizontal edge anywhere or anywhere else too. That's a powerful and efficient way of processing visual data. Okay, here are some more filter examples. So these are from the first convolutional layer of a ResNet 50. So as you can see, they appear as small blobs or patterns. So this is characteristic of low-level filters. At this stage, the filters are typically smaller in size and are designed to capture basic visual features like edge, textures, and simple gradients. So, how we actually visualize these filters? So, it's actually quite straightforward. So, first, we obtain the weights and biases of a filter. So, well, in Keras, this is pretty easy to use by using the get weights function. Well, in this lesson, we will use Keras in this case just to visualize uh every filter. Well, we will try to have a demo with this with PyTorch. So stay tuned. So once we have the weights, we normalize them to the range of 0 and 1. Then we use matplotlib to plot the weight values in 2D. Well, we will go through this step by step in the next lesson. Okay, in this section, we're going to take a look at filter activations in convolutional neural networks. Now, this might seem a bit confusing at first, but don't worry. So I'll walk you through it step by step, so you can build a solid understanding of what filter activations actually look like and how different filters respond to different parts of an image. So by the end of this section, you should have a clear idea of how CNNs interpret visual features. Okay, so well, let's get started. Imagine you have a random input random input image here, and you are feeding it to the trained convolutional neural network or CNN. So now, what exactly happens at this stage? This one. So well, what should happen, at least in theory, is that a certain filter in the neural network will activate. This means they respond strongly when they detect a specific patterns or features in the input image. So let's take a look at the illustration here the when the image is passed through a convolutional layer and each filter scans across the image looking for patterns it has learned to detect during training. In a particular pattern is if a particular pattern is found, the filter activates, meaning it produces a high value at that location. Now, so here's where the ReLU comes in. After convolution, the the ReLU or the rectified linear unit is applied. So it simply removes any negative values from the feature map, keeping only the positive activations. So uh, this is what you see, no, when with regards to using ReLU. So it removes the negative ones here. So there are two important visualizations you can look at. So the region in the input or in the region in the input image that cause specific filters to activate and the actual activation maps or the feature maps that shown where where and how strongly each filter responds. So as you can see, we have an highest output 3 and we have others 2, 1, 1, 2. So we have pattern here that was activated. Okay? So this is a critical part of how CNNs understand and process visual data by detecting patterns and activating accordingly. Okay, now let's take a closer look at filter activations. So take a look at this image here. So specifically the section like this one from this on the left, bottom left. So what are we actually looking at? So if you observe closely, you might be able to make out the outline of a cat, especially around this area. So I think where I think this is eyes and some facial features are faintly visible. So in my opinion, this specific patch gives the clearest view of the original image structure. So what does this represent? Imagine we fed an image like a cat into our trained CNN. Each square, so each square you see here represents the output of a filter in one of the early convolutional layers. In a typical CNN, we might have 32 or more filters in the first layer alone. So what you are seeing is how each of those filters activates when applied to the input image. Now, now we shift our attention to the image on the right. So this how activations from a much deeper layer in the network. As we go deeper, we apply operations like max pooling, which reduces the spatial size of the picture map. So that's why these later activations appear smaller and more abstract. So they have lost fine details but retained important features. So so there are a couple of key takeaways here. No, the activations become sparser and more localized. Only a small regions of the input cause a filter to respond. So some filters don't activate at all. So see these few squares here that are all black, no? So they are completely black. So those are what we call dead filters. So so these are filters that do not activate for any input. Well, it might happen due to poor initialization or because they didn't learn useful patterns during training. So, visualizing filter activations like this is useful not just for understanding what the network has learned, but also for debugging. So, dead filters, for example, just add unnecessary complexity without contributing to performance. Okay, now let's take a look at something slightly different. So here we're looking uh, at filter activations generated from an image of a beach. So it might be a little hard to see or to tell. So due to small size, but you can make out elements like sky, the sea, and the sand. So notice how different filters respond to different parts of the image. For example, this filter, this filter here might be activating in response to the blue sky in the background. So another one lights up the sandy beach. This one, and this one over here seems this one respond to. I think this is a sun. I think, and let me check. And I think this one, I know this one. I think it respond to the sea or waves here. I think this one. So what is happening here is that each filter is tuned to detect certain visual patterns like edges, textures, shapes, or even specific objects. So when we pass the beach image through the CNN, different filters activated depending on what parts of the image match their learned patterns. So now, just to clarify something important, So in the previous section, we were looking at the raw filter weights. So that means we were examining what each filter is designed to detect, kind of like inspecting the template. But here, we're looking at the actual filter activations, the output, the outputs generated when we apply those filters to an image. So it's no longer just pattern inside the filter, it's how those filters behave in action. Well, to sum it up, filters show filters show us what kind of patterns a layer is trying to detect. Filter activation shows us where and how strongly those patterns appear in a given image. This distinction is important as we move forward, so keep that in mind. Okay. So let's take a look at these filter activations. So this is the same visualization I showed you on the previous slide. Okay, starting with this one on the left here, no? So what you're seeing here are the different CNN layers progressing from early layers of the left on the left to the deeper layers to the right. So each of these blocks represents the output of a convolutional layer. As we move deeper into the network through successive layers, especially after applying convolution, max pooling operations, so the spatial dimensions of the feature maps shrink. So that's why the feature maps start to look more pixelated or abstract as we go further to the right. So now notice how the feature maps in the early layers on the left contain more detail. As we move deeper to the right, the feature maps show less detail. So this happens because the deeper convolutional layers are activated by combinations of outputs from the earlier layers. In most CNNs, unless we use padding to preserve the size, the feature maps get smaller as we go deeper. So here's the important part. While the feature maps in the upper layers appear sparse or less detailed, so they actually represent more complex and abstract patterns. Each activation in these deeper layers are corresponds to a combination of multiple lower level filters. So even something like a small dot, this one as you, in this one might represent a complex concept. Maybe it's like a tree or a part of a palm tree because it has learned to activate only when certain patterns from earlier layers are present. So I remember this was a bit confusing to me when I first learned it too. So it feels intuitive. So that simpler looking outputs actually represent more complex features. But hopefully this explanation help clarify it. Oops. All right. Here's a simple example. So this image on the left is a digit, looks like a 9, and I believe it is since it comes from a MNIST dataset. So this digit has been passed through a convolutional neural network, and on the right, you can see the activations from different filters across the convolutional layers. So this is actually what we will be doing in our code lesson, visually visualizing how each filter responds when we pass an input through a CNN. So now the brighter areas shown in each filter activations or the filter activation map represent strong activations that those are the parts of the input that the filter is firing on or activated on. The darker areas represent little to no activation. So you might even spot some barely respond at at, at all of these digits. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's a dead filter. Sample here, this one. It might not respond to a 9. So, but it could be very active for other digits like 1 or 2 or so or whatever, no, whatever number it is. So that's something you'd figure out by experimenting different inputs. So this visualization gives us a nice look into what the CNN is paying attention to each step. So you can literally see which filters are reacting to which parts of the image, which makes this a really cool and insightful experiment. Okay, so let's take a look at how we actually implemented this. First, we create a new model similar to the one we used before, but this time we modify it so that it takes an image as input and outputs only the feature maps from the layer we're interested in. So we don't want the final predictions here. We just want to see what the CNN is learning at each step. So next, we load the input and normalize it. And that usually means scaling the pixel values between 0 and 1, which works well with most models and is also ideal for visualizing with Matplotlib. And then we pass the image through a modified model. So this will output the feature maps instead of final classification. Finally, we extract the specific features or the specific feature map responses. Um, no, feature map responses. So we want to visualize them using Matplotlib. So that's what allows us to see how different filters are reacting to different parts of the input image.